This man, the world's most infamous arms dealer, has just showcased his latest masterpiece of destruction, but he is about to discover its true price. In less than 24 hours, he will wake up in a desolate cave, with one of his own missiles embedded in his chest, kept alive only by a crude car battery wired directly to his heart. His captors offer a simple choice: build them his ultimate weapon, or die. But they've made one fatal mistake. They've cornered a genius. And in doing so, they haven't created a weapon, they've created a hero. Our story begins 36 hours earlier. A convoy of military Humvees carves a path through the desolate Afghan landscape. Inside, billionaire arms dealer Tony Stark holds a glass of whiskey, a stark contrast to the stoic soldiers surrounding him. He breaks the silence with his signature blend of arrogance and charm, joking that the somber mood feels like his own court-martial. The young soldiers, initially intimidated, soon warm up to his playful banter. One even asks about the rumor of him having dated all 12 Maxim cover models in a single year. Tony cheekily confirms most of it, admitting the March model had a scheduling conflict, but luckily, the December issue featured twins. The soldiers laugh, the tension eased. A young airman, emboldened, asks for a photo with the famous Tony Stark. Tony obliges, striking a peace sign pose. In that fleeting moment of levity, tragedy strikes. A massive explosion rips through the convoy. The vehicle in front of Tony's is obliterated. Chaos erupts. The soldiers, once relaxed, are now in a desperate firefight. They push Tony out of the damaged Humvee, urging him to take cover. He stumbles out into the harsh desert light, the sounds of battle ringing in his ears. His military escort is cut down one by one. Dazed and alone, he scrambles for the shelter of a large rock, pulling out his phone in a futile attempt to call for help. That is when he sees it. A missile lands just feet away. On its side, the name of his own company, Stark Industries. The explosion throws him backward, and the world fades to black. Tony awakens to a nightmare. He is in a dark, damp cave. A thick bandage covers his chest, and a strange device is humming within it, wired to a car battery. A fellow captive, a doctor named Yinsen, explains the grim reality. The explosion filled Tony's chest with shrapnel. This electromagnet is the only thing stopping the metal shots from reaching his heart and killing him. Their captors, a terrorist group known as the 10 Rings, soon reveal their demands. They are armed to the teeth with Tony's own weapons. Their leader, Raza, wants Tony to build them his latest and greatest creation, the Jericho missile. They provide him with a workshop filled with Stark Industries parts, and promise him freedom upon completion. Tony, defiant even in captivity, refuses. He is met with a brutal waterboarding session that nearly drowns him. Yinsen revives him, pleading with him. He shows Tony the devastation his weapons have wrought upon this land, upon Yinsen's own village. Yinsen says, forcing Tony to confront the bloody consequences of his life's work. He asks Tony if this is how he wants to be remembered. It is a question that cuts deeper than any shrapnel. A fire is lit in Tony's eyes. He agrees to build a missile, but it is a ruse. He has a different plan. He tells Yinsen they need to build something else first, something to save his life. Working under the watchful eye of the terrorists' cameras, they begin their secret project. Tony's first priority is to stabilize his condition. He designs a miniature arc reactor, a clean energy source far more powerful and portable than the car battery. It can power his heart for 50 lifetimes, he tells Yinsen, or something much bigger for 15 minutes. With his life secured, Tony reveals his true plan to Yinsen, a suit of powered armor, their ticket out of here. While pretending to assemble the Jericho missile, they secretly forge the components for what will become the Mark I armor. During their long nights of work, a bond forms between the two men. Yinsen speaks of his family, whom he hopes to see again. Tony, when asked about his own, simply says no. He is a man who has everything. Yinsen observes, and nothing. But their deception doesn't go unnoticed. Raza grows suspicious. He sees they are not building what he asked for. He storms their workshop, threatening Yinsen to get Tony to cooperate. He gives them one final deadline. The missile must be ready by tomorrow. The clock is ticking. Tony and Yinsen race against time to finish the suit. As Yinsen helps Tony into the bulky, formidable armor, the terrorists realize they've been tricked and begin to break down the door. Yinsen, knowing they need more time, grabs a rifle. He tells Tony to stick to the plan. As the suit powers up, Yinsen runs out, firing wildly to draw the terrorists away, buying Tony the precious seconds he needs. The Mark I armor activates. It is a crude, brutal-looking machine, but it is powerful. With a single punch, Tony smashes through the stone wall. The terrorists open fire, but their bullets ricochet harmlessly off the thick plating. He is a walking tank, an unstoppable force of vengeance. He unleashes the suit is built in flamethrowers, clearing a path through the caves. In the chaos, he finds Yinsen, mortally wounded. Yinsen's family, he reveals, is already dead. He is going to see them now. With his dying breath, he tells Tony not to waste his life. It is a plea that will forever change the course of Tony's existence. Fueled by grief and rage, Tony emerges from the cave. He destroys the terrorists' camp, obliterating the stockpiles of his own weapons. He then uses the suit as rocket boosters to launch himself into the sky, making a clumsy but successful escape. The suit crash lands in the desert, shattering into pieces. But Tony Stark is alive, and he is free. Spotted by a US Air Force helicopter, Tony is rescued. His best friend, Colonel James Rhodes, is there to greet him. Back on American soil, the first thing he requests isn't a doctor, but an American cheeseburger and a press conference. At the press conference, a changed Tony Stark addresses the world. He speaks of seeing his weapons used to kill American soldiers. He speaks of a system with zero accountability. A system he was once a part of. And then, he drops a bombshell. Effective immediately, he is shutting down the weapons manufacturing division of Stark Industries. The announcement sends shockwaves through the company and the stock market. His business partner and mentor, Obadiah Stane, is furious. He reminds Tony that they are a weapons manufacturer. It is their entire legacy. But Tony is resolute. He reveals his new arc reactor, a testament to his new path. Obadiah is stunned, demanding to know how he built it. Later, Tony asks his loyal assistant, Pepper Potts, for a delicate favor. He needs to replace the arc reactor in his chest with an upgraded model. The procedure is tense and intimate. Pepper, though squeamish, must carefully reach into the socket in his chest. A slip of the hand causes Tony to go into cardiac arrest, but they manage to swap the devices just in time. Tony asks her to destroy the old reactor, saying he is not the nostalgic type. But Pepper, sensing its significance, keeps it. She later has it mounted in a glass case with an inscription. Heart. Hidden away in his workshop, Tony begins a new secret project, codenamed Mark II. He is building a new, sleeker version of his armored suit. The initial flight tests are anything but smooth. His first attempt at using boot thrusters sends him flying backward into a wall. Subsequent tests with stabilizing hand repulsors result in him pinballing around his expensive garage, destroying one of his prized cars. But Tony is relentless. He tunes the controls, learns to balance, and finally, achieves stable flight. He can fly. He fully assembles the gleaming silver Mark II suit, and decides to take it for a real spin, against the advice of his AI, Jarvis. Tony quips before blasting off into the night sky. The flight is exhilarating. He soars over the city, pushing the suit to its limits, aiming to break the altitude record. But at extreme altitude, a new problem arises. Icing. The suit freezes up, losing all power and plummeting back to Earth. Just before impact, he manages to reboot the system and deploy flaps, breaking the ice and regaining control. Lesson learned. Back in the workshop, he designs the Mark III using a gold titanium alloy to prevent freezing and adding a splash of hot rod red for flair. Meanwhile, in Afghanistan, Raza and the Ten Rings have recovered the pieces of the Mark I armor. They are visited by a surprising client, Obadiah Stane. It is revealed that Obadiah was the one who hired the Ten Rings to kill Tony, though they didn't know their target's identity. Obadiah paralyzes Raza with a sonic device, takes the Mark I designs, and has his men eliminate the terrorists. He returns to Stark Industries and tasks his engineers with building a bigger, more powerful version of Tony's suit. But they hit a wall. They can't replicate the miniature arc reactor. An enraged Obadiah screams that Tony Stark was able to build one in a cave with a box of scraps. Back at a charity event, Tony is confronted by reporter Christine Everhart. She shows him photos of his own weapons being used by warlords in Gomera, Yinson's hometown. The images hit Tony hard. He sees on the news the very people he is trying to protect are still suffering from his past creations. He can't stand by any longer. Donning the newly completed Mark III, he flies to Gomera. He arrives to find the Ten Rings terrorizing the villagers. What follows is not a battle, but a systematic dismantling of the terrorist operation. He effortlessly dispatches the soldiers, protects the innocent civilians, and destroys a tank with a single, well-placed missile. His actions create a stir at the Pentagon. Rhodey, realizing the unidentified flying object might be his friend, calls Tony. Tony's evasive answers do little to quell his suspicion. The Air Force scrambles two F-22 Raptors to intercept the bogey. A tense aerial dogfight ensues. Tony, trying to avoid a conflict, accidentally clips one of the jets, causing its wing to fail. The pilot ejects, but his parachute jams. In a daring mid-air rescue, Tony swoops in, opens the chute, and saves the pilot's life. He confesses to a stunned Rhodey, who agrees to cover for him, reporting the incident as a training exercise. Convinced that Stark Industries is secretly trading under the table, Tony sends Pepper to hack into the company's mainframe. She finds what he is looking for, and more. She discovers not only the illegal arms shipments, but also a hidden project in Sector 16, Obadiah's giant suit. Worse, she uncovers a video from the Ten Rings, proving Obadiah orchestrated Tony's kidnapping and murder attempt. As she downloads the incriminating files, Obadiah appears. He delivers a chilling monologue about Tony's decline, all while knowing Pepper has discovered his secret. Pepper manages to escape with the data, meeting with Agent Coulson of the newly named SHIELD to expose Obadiah. Meanwhile, Obadiah, realizing his engineers can't replicate the arc reactor, goes to Tony's home. He uses the sonic device to paralyze Tony and rips the new arc reactor straight from his chest, leaving him to die. Tony, gasping for air, crawls to his lab. He manages to retrieve the old, weaker arc reactor, the one Pepper saved, and install it just as Rhodey arrives. As SHIELD agents move to arrest Obadiah in Sector 16, he powers up his monstrous suit, the Ironmonger. The agents are no match for him. Tony, now in his Mark III armor, arrives just in time to save Pepper. The two Iron Titans clash, a brutal battle that spills out onto the streets, endangering civilians. Tony, knowing his suit has less power, lures the Ironmonger high into the atmosphere, hoping to freeze him out again. The plan works, but Tony's own power is critically low. He falls from the sky, barely saved by his emergency backup power. The fight continues on the roof of Stark Industries. Obadiah has the upper hand. His suit is strength overwhelming Tony's. With his targeting systems damaged and power failing, Tony has one last, desperate idea. He tells Pepper to go to the main console and overload the massive arc reactor that powers the entire building. She hesitates, knowing it could kill him, but as Obadiah prepares for the final blow, Tony screams for her to push the button. A massive surge of energy erupts from the reactor, engulfing both of them. Obadiah is electrocuted and falls into the reactor's core, consumed by the energy he craved. Tony, his suit fried, barely survives. They call the armored figure Catchy. In the aftermath, Agent Coulson provides Tony with a cover story. The hero was a bodyguard and Obadiah died in a small plane crash. At the press conference, Tony is meant to read the prepared alibi, but as he stands at the podium, he looks at the cards, then at the reporters. Yinsen's final words echo in his mind. Don't waste your life. He tosses the cards aside. After a moment of contemplation, he looks directly into the cameras and makes a declaration that will change the world forever. Man. Back in his Malibu home, Tony is met by a mysterious figure in the shadows. It is Nick Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D. He tells Tony that he is not the only superhero in the world. He is here to talk to him about the Avenger Initiative.